Did you know that procrastination isn't just a barrier holding you back? It's a powerful mirror revealing how you respond to challenge, pressure, and purpose. That constant loop of "I'll do it later" isn't just a bad habit, it's a signal that, when understood, can unlock some of the most transformative changes in your life. And today, we're not here to shame you or dwell on your struggles. We're here to dig deeper, to give you the tools to decode that behavior, take control of it, and ultimately, turn it into fuel for your growth. In this video, you won't just learn how to stop procrastinating, you'll learn why you procrastinate, what triggers it, how it's wired into your routines, and more importantly, how you can rewire your mindset to break free. We'll explore the real psychological roots behind procrastination and dive into the daily choices that either keep you stuck or move you forward. You'll gain practical, science-backed strategies that are simple to apply, yet powerful enough to shift how you manage time, energy, and focus. You'll learn why tackling just one meaningful task can create a ripple effect that changes your entire day. Why managing your craving for instant gratification is key to long-term success, and why your physical environment, and even the pace at which you live, can either drain your willpower or boost your productivity. This approach is rooted in the work of Damon Zahariades, a leader in the field of productivity and performance. His teachings don't rely on hype or vague inspiration. They offer grounded, actionable methods that help you take back control. Zahariades teaches us that procrastination isn't the enemy, it's a signal, a pattern, a message. And when you learn to listen to it, you begin the process of turning resistance into resilience. Throughout this journey, you'll uncover the hidden patterns that keep you from starting, persisting, and finishing what truly matters. You'll learn to recognize the difference between active and passive procrastination, and how to redirect both into purposeful action. You'll discover how to reshape your space, clear mental clutter, and rebuild your momentum from the ground up. This isn't just another motivational pep talk. It's a wake-up call. A no-fluff, step-by-step guide to reclaiming your time, rebuilding your confidence, and creating real change. If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage, this might just be the shift you've been waiting for. No false promises, just real progress. And it all starts with one small decision: to stay, to listen, to act. Because the life you want doesn't begin with a miracle. It begins with a moment, like this one. Let's admit it, procrastination is part of who we are as humans. It's almost a universal trait, an invisible yet constant presence in our lives. We've all been there, choosing to watch TV instead of finishing an important project, or deciding to relax when the house is begging to be cleaned. These choices, while seemingly harmless, often conceal a deeper emotional complexity. We're lured by the promise of immediate pleasure, that gratification that feels so close and within reach. But have you ever stopped to consider the hidden cost of these small indulgences? What seems like an innocent decision often leaves behind a trail of wasted moments, distant goals, and a lingering shadow of dissatisfaction. At its core, procrastination is just a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. But first, we need to confront its true nature. Simply acknowledging that procrastination is natural isn't enough. We must boldly question the extent to which this tendency is stealing our most valuable assets, our peace of mind, and our vision for the future. Here's the key. It's not just the lost time that weighs us down, but the emotions that arise in that void. How many times has the weight of anxiety gripped us as we watch the clock tick? And how many opportunities have we missed, convinced that there would be time later? Procrastination doesn't just delay doing, it poisons being, filling us with accumulated regrets and deferred dreams that may never come to life. But there's hope. Can we break free from procrastination's grip? Absolutely. While the habit of putting things off can feel unshakable, every day presents a new opportunity to choose differently. Benjamin Franklin said it best: "Lost time is never found again." Yet that same phrase holds a gift. As long as there's time ahead, there's a chance to rewrite our relationship with it. In this guide, we'll explore universal strategies to tackle and conquer procrastination, no matter how deeply it's rooted in your life. You'll learn to recognize that behind every excuse you use to justify delays, perfectionism, fear of failure, or even fear of success, lies an untold story about yourself. This isn't just about changing your routine, it's about an internal transformation. Tools like the Eat the Frog technique will not only help you face challenging tasks, but also reshape your perspective on what it means to make progress. We'll also reflect on a silent enemy of productivity: endless to-do lists. Sometimes filling a page with tasks can give you the illusion of control when, in reality, it distracts you from what truly matters. You'll learn to prioritize with intention, distinguish the urgent from the important, and work more mindfully, avoiding the trap of being busy without being productive. Procrastination isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Its purpose isn't to stop you, but to make you aware of your limits and fears so you can turn them into allies. Reorganizing your life starts with one simple decision: stop waiting. Are you ready to challenge the procrastinator within you? The question isn't whether you have the ability to do it, it's whether you have the courage to start. This journey will lead you to a life more aligned with your goals, your dreams, and most importantly, your true potential. Let's begin. Why do we procrastinate? The answer isn't singular or simple. It's a question that takes us deep into the layers of our minds and emotions. Each of us has our reasons, shaped by our experiences, psychological traits, and the environment we live in. But one universal truth remains: procrastination isn't a reflection of our incompetence or lack of talent. On the contrary, it's a signal, a message that what we need isn't always more capability, but a shift in perspective or approach. Sometimes the solution isn't about trying harder, but about trying differently. There are several common reasons why we procrastinate, and understanding them is the first step to overcoming them. If we learn to listen to those reasons, we can transform procrastination from an obstacle into a teacher that helps us grow. Fear of failure is one of the main culprits. When faced with a new project, uncertainty surrounds us like a dense fog. We don't know if our actions will bear fruit, or if, in the end, our efforts will be in vain. For many, the scars of past negative experiences only fuel this fear. But what if we change the narrative? Instead of viewing failure as an enemy, we could start seeing it as an uncomfortable but necessary ally. Every failure is a raw lesson waiting to be shaped. It maps out our future victories, showing us what works and what doesn't. Imagine each attempt not as a test of your worth, but as another step on the ladder towards something greater. Greatness doesn't lie in avoiding mistakes, but in rising after each fall, stronger, wiser, and with renewed determination. Surprisingly, fear of success can also act as an anchor that holds us back. Achieving our goals isn't always the relief we hope for. It often comes with an unexpected weight: new expectations, bigger responsibilities, and the constant worry of not living up to them. This fear, though paradoxical, invites valuable introspection. What does this achievement mean to me? Is it truly aligned with my values and what I want to build in my life? If it is, then let's move forward with confidence, remembering that the stress of growth is a price worth paying. And if it isn't, perhaps it's time to rethink our direction, prioritizing what truly matters. Of course, we can't ignore simple unwillingness as another cause of procrastination. Pursuing meaningful goals requires consistent effort, often demanding, and the sight of a distant objective can feel overwhelming. But here's the secret: it's not about conquering mountains all at once. It's about taking small, continuous steps. Even dedicating just a few minutes daily to writing, planning, or practicing, every effort begins to build something solid. Small progress, when accumulated, leads to visible transformations. It's consistency, not perfection, that helps us overcome even the most monumental tasks. Finally, there are limiting beliefs, that persistent inner voice whispering, "You're not enough," or "You won't make it." This inner critic, though persuasive, is merely a distorted echo of past fears or external expectations. It's essential to challenge it. Recall moments when you overcame difficulties, those times when you achieved what seemed impossible. Allow yourself to acknowledge those victories, no matter how small they seem. Learn to accept compliments not as exaggerations, but as evidence of your worth. There's no arrogance in appreciating yourself. There's truth and humility in recognizing the strength you carry within. Overcoming procrastination isn't a straight path or an overnight change. It's a process, a constant conversation with yourself where you explore, reflect, and consciously choose how to respond to challenges. When you understand why you hesitate, you begin to dismantle the blocks that once felt insurmountable. Every day brings an opportunity to move forward, even just a little, because every step you take brings you closer not only to your goals, but to the person you're meant to be. And isn't that reason enough to start now? Laziness. It's a word we've been conditioned to despise, something we throw at ourselves in moments of inactivity, something that carries shame, guilt, and self-judgment. We use it as a label, a quick explanation for why we're not doing what we should be doing. But what if we've misunderstood laziness all along? What if it's not a flaw in our character, but a misunderstood signal, a whisper from deeper parts of ourselves that we've learned to ignore? Think about those moments when you just can't bring yourself to start a task, even when it's important, even when you know it'll make you feel better afterward. Is that truly laziness, or is it a quiet message from within, asking for rest, for clarity, or for alignment? Maybe it's your body saying, "I'm exhausted," or your heart gently revealing, "This doesn't matter to me anymore." What if laziness isn't a refusal to act, but a request to listen? The truth is, what we often label as laziness can be the surface expression of something deeper: emotional fatigue, unresolved stress, disconnection from purpose, or fear of failure disguised as apathy. Before you criticize yourself for being lazy, take a moment to pause and ask, what am I really feeling beneath this stillness? Is it boredom, fear, resistance, or simply a need to slow down? This is where we begin to understand the delicate line between laziness and procrastination. Although they may look alike from the outside, they operate very differently inside us. Procrastination often comes with an internal negotiation. I'll do it later, with the expectation that you will eventually return to the task. Laziness, in contrast, can feel like an emotional disconnection, a numbness that strips the desire to even begin. One delays, the other disconnects. And understanding which one you're experiencing can help you respond with more compassion and clarity. Sometimes what you're calling laziness is really your body pleading for a reset. We live in a culture that glorifies productivity, hustle, and endless progress. But humans aren't machines. We move in cycles. We need moments of stillness to process, to recover, to realign with what truly matters. And ignoring that need can lead to burnout, resentment, or a complete loss of motivation. So instead of forcing yourself forward through sheer willpower, consider asking, what kind of rest do I truly need right now? Physical, emotional, or spiritual? Now, if you know deep down that your goal still matters to you, that you still care about finishing the project, pursuing the dream, or taking that next step, but you feel trapped in inertia, then perhaps laziness has become a habit, and like any habit, it can be rewired. One of the most powerful truths about human behavior is that action doesn't follow motivation, it creates it. Waiting to feel ready is often a trap. More often, it's the act of beginning, however small, that awakens your drive. Start with the tiniest step, something you can do in under 5 minutes. Because once you're in motion, momentum takes over. Sometimes the issue isn't laziness or procrastination, it's boredom. You may not have lost interest in the goal itself, but the way you're approaching it has become stale. Doing the same thing, the same way, every day can drain your enthusiasm. Ask yourself, is there a way to reimagine this task? Could I change the environment, the tools, the timing, or even invite someone else into the process? Small tweaks can reignite excitement and make old routines feel new again. And let's not overlook another important factor, your past. Many of our behaviors in adulthood are echoes of how we were raised. If you grew up in an environment where independence was discouraged, or where expectations were rigid and constant, you might associate productivity with pressure. Even goals you want to achieve may trigger resistance because they subconsciously feel like obligations. Healing that relationship with action takes time, but it begins with awareness, noticing when your laziness is really just a form of quiet rebellion. Here's the shift. Every moment of resistance is an opportunity, not to judge yourself, but to become more self-aware, to ask deeper questions, to realign. Laziness and procrastination are not enemies to be defeated, they are messengers. And if you're brave enough to listen, they can lead you to insights about what energizes you, what drains you, and what deserves your attention. Overcoming procrastination is not a fleeting act or a simple desire to be more productive. It's a transformative journey where you learn to consciously organize your mind, intentions, and habits. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or relying on sporadic bursts of motivation, as both are as fragile as a leaf in the wind. True change lies in designing a system that works even on the days when enthusiasm seems to have vanished. It's in those gray moments that your ability to act consistently defines your personal growth. When you take control of your time and environment, you not only reduce stress and move forward with more confidence, but also reclaim something invaluable: the sense of achievement, the spark that ignites the flame of progress. The first step toward authentic productivity may seem counterintuitive. Start with the hardest task. This principle, popularized as "eat the frog first," is more than just a strategy. It's an act of courage and self-discipline. Why does it work? Because it frees you from that task that constantly looms over your mind like a burdensome weight, the one you postpone because it's uncomfortable, challenging, or simply unappealing. Tackling that difficult phone call, responding to that pending email, or confronting that delayed obligation has a transformative effect. Overcoming it not only lightens your day, but also shifts your perspective. What once seemed unattainable starts to feel manageable. More importantly, it empowers you because you prove to yourself that you can face challenges instead of avoiding them. But what if that initial mountain feels so enormous that you don't even know where to begin? This is where a simple yet effective technique comes into play: the 10-minute rule. Commit to working on that task for just 10 minutes, nothing more. Why is it so powerful? Because it removes the emotional weight of starting. 10 minutes is manageable for anything, but something curious happens. Once you start, the act of moving and taking action dissipates the initial resistance. Before you know it, those 10 minutes can evolve into a natural, productive flow. It's a subtle but profound reminder. Starting is the most important step. Your relationship with time is another crucial factor. Interestingly, having too much time can be just as detrimental as having too little. When time appears as a vast, unstructured expanse, procrastination finds fertile ground to grow. Setting clear boundaries for your working hours and giving them a defined purpose not only accelerates your progress, but also reduces the anxiety that comes with a lack of direction. A well-designed list with clear and specific priorities can become your compass. However, be cautious about the temptation to tackle what's easiest or most urgent first. Learn to prioritize what truly matters, those tasks that create a significant impact on your long-term goals. Minor distractions like emails or instant messages rarely carry the importance we attribute to them in the moment. On the other hand, don't underestimate the power of simplicity in your planning. An endless to-do list is the fastest path to mental exhaustion and demotivation. Unrealistic planning isn't ambition, it's self-sabotage. Instead, choose to be intentional. Design your days with a focus on quality, not quantity. 3 or 4 meaningful tasks are enough to make a positive impact without weighing you down unnecessarily. Clarity about what's essential not only optimizes your time, but also nurtures your sense of accomplishment, a force as powerful as any external reward. Ultimately, mastering procrastination isn't about becoming a productivity machine. It's about reclaiming control of your life. It's about learning to manage your time strategically, confronting resistance early and decisively. Most importantly, it's about moving forward with purpose. It doesn't matter if your first steps are timid or bold. Every movement you make, even with doubts, brings you closer to the life you're building. So, don't wait any longer. Start today. The satisfaction of accomplishment, the serenity of being effective, and the freedom of overcoming your internal blocks are more than rewards. They're proof that every effort is worth it, because you're moving towards something bigger, more meaningful, and above all, more aligned with who you are and who you want to become. The path to overcoming procrastination begins with self-awareness, a habit often underestimated but essential for achieving real change. Knowing yourself isn't just about understanding your preferences or recognizing your strengths. It's about exploring your internal rhythms, identifying the factors that influence your energy, and accepting without judgment the patterns that hold you back. This process can make the difference between being stuck in a cycle of delay or moving forward with intention and clarity toward your goals. It's like tailoring a custom suit for your days. The better it fits you, the more comfortable and natural your forward movement becomes. Understanding your energy levels and triggers becomes an internal compass that guides your productivity. Everyone has a peak energy moment during the day, those times when ideas seem to flow effortlessly and challenges feel manageable. Perhaps it's early in the morning when the house is silent, or in the evening when the world slows down. If you haven't pinpointed that moment yet, give yourself the gift of observation. Keep a record for a few weeks, and note when you feel most focused, which activities recharge you and which ones drain you. This simple exercise may seem trivial, but it will help you structure your days wisely, maximizing your ability to act. Big tasks, the ones that feel insurmountable, often block our progress the most. The resistance they generate isn't always due to their difficulty, but to how we perceive them, as vast, overwhelming wholes. This is where the art of breaking complexity into simple, manageable steps becomes your best strategy. Imagine climbing a mountain. If you only focus on the summit, the journey feels endless, but if you concentrate on the next step, everything becomes more attainable. Breaking a project into specific actions not only reduces its emotional weight, but also provides small victories that fuel your motivation. Your physical environment also plays a much more significant role than we usually admit. It's not just a place where you work, it's a reflection of your focus and mental clarity. A clear desk and a calm atmosphere aren't just matters of aesthetics, but practical tools for maintaining concentration. How peaceful does your mind feel in your current space? Assess your surroundings and actively remove any distractions, be it your phone, constant notifications, or even objects that divert your attention. Creating a space that fosters focus isn't just about subtraction, it's also about addition. A plant, good lighting, or even soft music can transform the place where you procrastinate into a haven of productivity. Focusing on one task at a time is another key piece in breaking the cycle of postponement. We live in a world that applauds multitasking, but the truth is, dividing our attention usually dilutes the quality of the outcome and amplifies the feeling of being stuck. Switching to the habit of monotasking is, at its core, an act of respect for yourself and your work. When you fully concentrate on one task, you not only complete it more effectively, but also experience immediate satisfaction, which boosts your confidence and reduces the urge to delay. If a task feels endless, dividing your time can be a great ally. Defined work blocks, like the Pomodoro technique, not only make a large project more manageable, but also prevent burnout. Imagine writing a report that seems to demand endless hours. By breaking the process into manageable blocks, say 45 minutes of focus followed by a 15-minute break, the task shifts from overwhelming to achievable. But those breaks are just as important as the work itself. Use them to recharge, not to scatter your focus. Walk, stretch, or simply breathe deeply to renew your energy for the next block. Procrastination doesn't define your ability or potential. It's merely a habit, a learned response that you can change with awareness and effective strategies. By addressing the needs of your body and mind, adjusting your environment, and simplifying your approach, you'll transform progress into something fluid and almost natural. And in that flow, you'll discover something invaluable: the realization that every step, no matter how small, contributes to something greater. This is where true progress lies, in intention, action, and the accumulation of every small movement toward what truly matters. Overcoming procrastination isn't just about taking action, it's a deeper process, a transformation that begins with how you relate to yourself. We often think the key lies in pressuring ourselves and being relentless, but such rigidity and self-punishment only perpetuate fear and avoidance. The solution is not in constant struggle, but in learning to balance discipline with self-care. This means celebrating small steps toward your goals, even mistakes, because far from being defeats, they are essential learning opportunities. The journey to productivity is long, like all significant change, but it is filled with valuable lessons and personal growth. What you need is patience and, above all, self-love. Self-compassion is, in fact, one of the most powerful tools in battling procrastination. It shouldn't just be a refuge when things go wrong, but also the driving force that helps you move forward in your daily journey. As mindfulness practice suggests, being kind to yourself while working toward your goals can have a transformative effect. Every small effort deserves recognition, and rather than distracting you, these rewards help you maintain momentum without falling into exhaustion or frustration. Contrary to what we're sometimes told, enjoyment is not the enemy of productivity. On the contrary, pleasure and work can coexist because pleasure recharges our energy, fills us with creativity, and helps us sustain motivation over the long term. When self-criticism arises, it's important to remember there's no direct path to success. Every stumble along the way is an integral part of the process, a step toward your personal and professional growth. If not handled properly, self-criticism can demotivate you. But what's crucial is how you respond to these thoughts. When negative voices emerge, interrupt them with a conscious act. That interruption is the key to rebuilding your internal narrative. Never forget that every mistake you make carries a unique lesson. True self-confidence develops by learning to approach these failures with resilience, using them not as reasons to give up, but as fuel that strengthens you. Furthermore, don't underestimate the power of human connections in this process. The people you surround yourself with are an extension of your energy. And when you share your goals with someone you trust, you commit not only to yourself, but also to that person. This accountability can remind you of what you're striving for during moments of doubt. The importance of social support lies in offering a framework of motivation and mutual responsibility. Sometimes, a simple reminder or a word of encouragement is enough to keep you focused. External deadlines also play a vital role in productivity. When working independently, it can be tempting to postpone tasks until they become urgent. Setting deadlines with others creates a sense of urgency and accountability. Sometimes, we just need someone else to give us that push. That's why, even if you work alone, involving another person in your process not only forces you to be more mindful of time, but also fosters a shared sense of commitment. It could be as simple as asking someone to check in with you or setting a date with that person to deliver your work. Remember that the path to productivity isn't a straight line. There will be victories, but also setbacks. It's essential to see these not as definitive failures, but as part of a process, as steps you're climbing slowly but steadily. Recognizing tough moments with compassion and continuing onward not only keeps you moving, but also allows you, over time, to look back with awe and admiration at how far you've come. Every day represents another step closer to transforming procrastination into a habit of effective action. In the end, you won't just achieve what you set out to do, but you'll discover a newfound strength you didn't know you had. Procrastination is often thought of as synonymous with failure and a loss of control over our productivity. However, there are moments when procrastination should not be viewed as the enemy, but as an opportunity to adjust how we work, reorganize our priorities, and improve our ability to adapt to changing circumstances. As in many areas of life, sometimes we need to allow ourselves these moments of pause to create space for new ideas and approaches. While passive procrastination can pull us away from essential tasks, active procrastination, though it also involves avoiding the urgent, can be a valuable time management tool if approached with the right perspective. Recognizing that these pauses can function as part of our process is key to seeing them not just as distractions, but as opportunities to recalibrate our energy. There are two well-defined types of procrastination. Passive procrastination occurs when, instead of tackling complex and demanding tasks, we seek refuge in instant gratification, such as scrolling through social media or playing video games. Activities that offer immediate but inconsequential rewards. We find ourselves trapped in the comfort of quick tasks that take us away from what truly matters. Active procrastination, on the other hand, is less destructive. While we avoid the main task, we remain productive by completing secondary responsibilities that still contribute to our overall well-being and environment. For instance, reorganizing your workspace or handling small household chores. Although these activities may not top your list of priorities, active procrastination still generates a sense of accomplishment, which can boost motivation for tackling more complex projects. Instead of being stuck, we stay in motion, albeit in a direction different from what we initially planned. Active procrastinators are often labeled negatively, accused of lacking self-regulation. However, changing our perspective reveals that these individuals are still productive, even if their actions don't follow a strict hierarchy of urgency. In fact, the tendency to complete secondary tasks with a sense of accomplishment can free us from the paralysis of perfectionism, a common phenomenon that slows progress. Additionally, by avoiding the overwhelming or complex, active procrastination allows us to focus on the here and now, a natural way to find quick solutions and make incremental progress toward larger goals. Adopting this approach can reduce anxiety and stress as we are still making progress, albeit indirectly. Feelings of guilt and shame often accompany our struggle with procrastination, but learning to let go of these emotions is essential. The weight of a missed deadline or an incomplete task should not define us or become an obstacle to moving forward. Instead of dwelling on guilt, we can learn to view these moments as opportunities to adjust and reflect on our priorities. Remember that taking a breather when you feel overwhelmed is not a sign of weakness, but a maintenance strategy. This act of caring for your well-being is key to regaining energy, reducing anxiety, and resuming your projects with greater effectiveness and freshness. Progressing toward your goals does not mean rushing or constantly striving for perfection. True productivity also lies in allowing yourself to rest. The real difference between those who act and those who remain stuck in excuses lies in habit. Damon Zahariades is right to point out that cultivating the habit of action, of moving forward no matter the obstacle, is what leads to results. Procrastination does not have to be a break. On the contrary, it can become a flexible process that adapts and evolves with our needs over time. Even if we don't follow the most direct path or meet initial expectations, we are still advancing. The key is persistence. Results often come in ways we could not have imagined at the beginning, and frequently, those results reflect the determination and commitment we sustain, even when progress feels slow. The secret isn't in moving quickly, but in not stopping, despite the ups and downs of the process. Procrastination may be deeply woven into our daily lives, but it is far from an unchangeable fate. We've all been there, watching the hours slip by, while we avoid that one task we know matters most. And yet, while the reasons we procrastinate may vary, fear, doubt, fatigue, distraction, the pattern often looks the same: a growing list, a constant feeling of guilt, and a subtle but persistent sense that we're falling behind on the life we want to live. But what if procrastination isn't just a flaw to correct, but a signal to interpret? The truth is, procrastination is not a final verdict. It's an invitation to look inward. The key to overcoming it isn't found in shame or self-criticism, but in awareness, intention, and small, consistent action. Real transformation begins not when we force ourselves into rigid productivity, but when we pause and choose to understand our own behavior. That moment of recognition, of saying, "I see this, I feel it, and I want to change it," becomes the first powerful step forward. When we begin to observe our own patterns with honesty, we open the door to profound growth. We stop blaming ourselves and start equipping ourselves. We stop seeing time as our enemy and begin to rebuild a healthier relationship with it. In this space of awareness, we can start creating rituals that serve us instead of sabotage us. This doesn't require massive changes overnight. What it takes is the courage to keep showing up, even imperfectly, again and again. By taking ownership of our time and attention, we move beyond just being busy and begin becoming intentional. And that shift from reaction to intention changes everything. It allows us to create routines that align with our values. It helps us develop discipline not out of force, but out of respect for our goals and dreams. Bit by bit, we begin to prove to ourselves that we are capable of following through, of staying present, of choosing progress over paralysis. The effects of this change ripple out into every area of our lives. Our relationships grow stronger because we're more present, more reliable, and more emotionally available. We communicate better, resolve conflicts more effectively, and show up with a clearer sense of purpose. Our financial lives improve too, because when we manage our time better, we manage our money better. We make decisions with clarity instead of stress. We stop avoiding hard conversations or overdue bills. We begin to lead our lives rather than letting them lead us. And then there's our health, an area procrastination often touches quietly but persistently. How many times have we delayed a doctor's visit, skipped a workout, or ignored signs of burnout simply because it felt easier to do it later? But later always comes with a price. When we break this habit, we start honoring our well-being in real, tangible ways. We reclaim our mornings. We choose rest when we need it. We move our bodies and nourish our minds not out of guilt, but out of care. Procrastination is not just a time issue, it's a self-respect issue. and overcoming it brings us into alignment with who we truly want to be. That's the power of awareness. That's the gift of conscious action. You'll also find that as you confront procrastination, your self-confidence begins to grow. Every time you face a task you've been avoiding, you are rewriting your story. You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than the fear or resistance that once held you back. And that kind of empowerment carries over into every future decision. Job opportunities, creative projects, new relationships, they all start to feel more within reach when you stop doubting your ability to follow through. Of course, no real change happens without practical tools. Time blocking, prioritizing, breaking big goals into small, manageable steps, these are all effective strategies. But they only work when paired with something deeper, self-compassion. If you're constantly beating yourself up for not doing enough, you're only reinforcing the very cycle you're trying to escape. Real growth happens when you learn to speak to yourself with kindness. To say, I didn't get it all done today, but I showed up, and tomorrow I will again. Progress isn't about perfection, it's about momentum. And momentum is built through small victories. A task started, a list simplified, a negative thought replaced with a gentle reminder. These are the quiet wins that compound over time. This is how we begin to change, not in one loud breakthrough, but in the calm persistence of choosing differently each day. Here's a simple yet powerful exercise to help you take the first step. Reflect on one thing you've been putting off. Ask yourself gently, why am I avoiding this? Is it fear, uncertainty, perfectionism? Awareness is the first step to freedom. Take a look at your task list and get honest. What can be removed? What truly matters today? Choose one or two meaningful tasks and give them your full focus. When self-doubt arises, challenge it. Remind yourself that growth is not about always winning. It's about not giving up. You are not your delays. You are the decisions you make next. The truth is, this journey won't always be easy. You'll have days where progress feels invisible, moments where the old patterns try to creep back in. But if you keep showing up, if you keep choosing to face rather than flee, you will get stronger, more focused, more in tune with your own potential. Procrastination does not define you. It's a habit, and habits can be broken, they can be replaced. You have the power to rewrite the way you live your days, and in doing so, you will reshape your life. One step, one task, one moment at a time. Thank you for staying with us all the way to the end. The fact that you're still here says a lot about you. It shows a genuine commitment to your personal growth, your self-awareness, and your desire to break through the barriers that have held you back. That alone is something to be proud of. It's important to remember that the journey toward change is never a straight line. You may still stumble, you may still hesitate, and some days will be harder than others. But now you carry something different with you. You have clarity, you have tools, and more importantly, you have the decision to rise above the cycle of procrastination whenever it tries to pull you in. If this message spoke to you, if you felt seen or inspired in any way, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Doing so not only supports the work we do, but also ensures that you'll continue to receive content created to guide, uplift, and empower you along your journey. And if you know someone who is going through similar struggles, share this video with them. Sometimes a single message can be the spark that changes everything. Thank you again for being here. You could be anywhere right now, but you chose to spend this moment investing in yourself. That's powerful. Never underestimate what that choice means. Every single day is a new opportunity to grow, to take a step forward, and to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Keep going. Your best self is already within you, waiting to be uncovered, one decision at a time.